Joining me every Tuesday is Sean Spicer, Donald Trump's spokesman when he was first president. Sean Spicer, always great to see you. What is this Trump style that our Greens don't like?
I don't know. Maybe accountability. I mean, look, here's the thing. Karoline Leavitt, the list that she read off, if anything, hopefully, maybe they're just jealous. I think, if anything, the folks down under should be upset that they got left off this list. But it sounds like we're handing out cash to everybody to do a bunch of woke policies.
But it's nickel and dime stuff, people will say. But I think it's also the very thing that gets taxpayers so frustrated that if somehow government is throwing out things like that, all right, nickel and dime, what are they doing with the big decisions like some of these global warming programs? I think going through government spending is the least that incoming politicians can do.
There's a level of respect, Andrew, that I think I'm at least excited to see, because if you care about the pennies and the nickels and dimes and the hundreds of thousands and the millions, at some point you start to care about the trillions. And I get that initially it might not add up to, a huge chunk when it looks at the entirety of our federal budget. But I do think there's a level of respect. I work hard and I get it. Taxes are part of life here in this country, mostly, in all free countries. But I don't want to waste my money. I don't want to be something that I can't spend on my family or save for my future and know that the government is wasting it. And that, to me, is insulting. To work every day, to send money into the U.S. government, and to know that they're throwing it around willy-nilly on silly programs like that. To your point, if you're willing to do it with $100,000, $1 million, $10 million, what's stopping you from $1 billion and $1 trillion? And I think what's scaring people, Andrew, and this is, you put your finger on it, it's not just the Greens, it's the left in this country as well, that I think have been getting away with throwing that kind of money around. And, it may not be the biggest dollars in the world, but if you're an organization on the left and they start throwing you a few $100,000 here or there to advance some woke policies, it may be a big amount to your organization. A few $100,000 there, $1 million here, $1 million there. It buys you 5 or 6 people that can go out and advance the woke agenda throughout the country, here and there, far and wide. And so I think that to some degree, the idea that we are finally exposing it, what's going on in government, the waste of money, the conflicts of interest, the duplicity, the inefficiencies that all fund the left, because that's the bottom line, is it all goes somewhere. And it's not going to right-leaning causes or what have you. This is all left-wing propaganda. And that they're handing out as a favor factory to their friends.
Look, I think you're absolutely correct. It's not just the waste. I think what we're seeing, and our funding bodies here are exactly the same, how the left managed to hijack so much of their this funding, public money, to keep alive their causes. We see it on our ABC government broadcasts. We see it on the SBS. We see it in our universities funding Muslim radicals, for instance. It's really quite extraordinary. I think that is really what's being exposed, and I think our Greens won't want it exposed here. Now, Donald Trump, looking at the bigger things that he's been busy with in these first couple of weeks, his shock and awe campaign, Sean, already delivering results that could save American lives. I said last night on the show, Trump has hit Canada, Mexico, China with tariffs, complaining about other things, fentanyl, illegal immigrants coming across America's borders. Bang! Canada's Prime Minister Trudeau says, I'm going to have 10,000 frontline personnel on the US border to deal with this. I'll appoint a fentanyl czar. I'm going to have list cartels as terrorists. I'm going to launch a Canada-US joint strike force to combat organised crime, fentanyl money laundering. Mexico also suddenly can do something. Has promised to send 10,000 troops to guard the US southern border. Here is Donald Trump.
But we have to stop fentanyl from coming in, whether I like somebody or not, and we have to stop the illegal aliens from coming in. I think we've lost 200,000 people on average a year for many years, much higher than the 100,000, could be even closer to 300,000. And they've agreed to put in 10,000 soldiers permanently, like forever, 10,000 soldiers at their side of the border and stop fentanyl and illegal aliens from coming into our country.
Sean, and now the tariffs on those countries are going to be delayed for a month while they try to sort out their differences. Maybe they won't go on at all. What does this tell you? This instant reaction, this instant gain to America?
It tells me that business as usual is over, and that there's a president who's demanding accountability and action. I mean, let's go back a couple steps, Andrew, right? Colombia says we're not going to take our citizens back that you're expelling because they're criminals living in your country, which they've done for years. President Trump says, great, I'm going to slap tariffs on you. Colombia bends a knee, takes the people back. Panama announces that they will end the Belt and Road initiatives with China that they were one of the first to sign on to. They're ending that. That's great for not just America, but for the world to stop Chinese dominance through the Panama Canal. He does it with Mexico. He does it with Canada the same way. It shows the difference. Leadership matters, right? This is what the American people like. I get some people in Washington were all, up in arms today, wringing their hands and crying about, I don't like his tactics. You know what I care about? Results. And you can play the game and say, Joe Biden told us that he knew everyone in the world. He had more knowledge and understanding of foreign leaders than anyone ever could. Look where that got us. I want us to be friends, with our allies and get along with them. But at the end of the day, I want us to make sure that we protect our interest, make sure that we are a safe country, we're a prosperous country. But I don't think we should be taken advantage of anymore. And I think Donald Trump finally shows that a leader who fights will get results.
I think Americans are going to like what they see here. I mean, you put it well. You might not like his tactics, but the results are on the board. Sean Spicer, thank you so much for your time.
As always, thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it.